Wicked Witches, welcome to the Leo full moon. We just had a wonderful ceremony. I did also have a lovely ceremony last night. We had a women's circle last night here on the island, which was wonderful. And we made Bridget crosses, which is a brilliant thing to do this time of year. But I burnt the one that I made last year, so I'll burn this next year. And then made the Bridget cross, and we drank cacao and we read poetry. And we shared stories about our jewellery, because Bridget is the goddess of poetry and metalwork. And Bridget is the goddess that they couldn't kill. So instead they turned her into a saint. And that's why today's St. Bridget's Day, 2nd of January, 2/2, which is also in High Magic, the day of the little sprout. And it's when you can feel those first little, like, just tinkles of spring, and you can feel it just starting to happen. And it is such an acute magic, which is why they couldn't destroy that goddess, because everyone loves spring. Everyone loves knowing that they've survived the winter and that sun is on its way and summer is on its way. It's the moment of possibility. And then we had a Leo full moon with it as well, and that doesn't always happen. You don't always have the Leo full moon at the same time as the Imbolc turning of the wheel, and so and the 2/2 day. So it's a really fortuitous time. There's a lot going on. It's the last sort of few days of clarity before we go into really gloopy Pisces season, Mercury retrograde, and the start of eclipse season. And everything at the moment is about the Leo Aquarius axis. So Leo is you, your higher power. It's interesting because it's not Aries, it's not the Emperor. The Emperor is the sovereign, but there is a sovereignty to Leo. But Leo is, we were talking about how you have the Justice card, which is the old tarot, the Rider-Waite tarot. It's Justice. And then in the Thoth deck, it's Lust. And actually, we talked about it in the online ceremony that we just did. This guy was a Muslim guy who was very angry against the West, and was shouting for justice about the paedophilia and all this stuff. And that's fair enough, right? And don't we all feel like this? Like, we want justice for what's going on. But what point does justice become revenge? And does, like, you know, like with Israel and Palestine, like these things keep playing out. And how does that end? You know, when you keep getting justice, it's justice, but then someone else is hurt. It's like, how do we stop these cycles of revenge and pain and destruction and despair and slaughter and violence? Like, how do we stop that? And this Lust card, it's not lust as in like just being a whore. It's a lust for life. It's feeling whole and complete and being at peace. And that doesn't mean that everything's like glossed over. It is about forgiveness, really, I think, and being able to forgive yourself and to celebrate who you are, celebrate your life, warts and all, to be able to celebrate the world the way it is, to see the world as whole and complete. It doesn't mean that things are okay. It doesn't mean that you're brushing them under the carpet, but that unless there are, I mean, you know, things are sometimes happening to people right this moment. There are bad things happening to people in the world right this moment. But for you, for your world, for what you're in at this moment in time, like for this guy who was speaking, he wasn't currently in that situation. He wasn't currently in that moment. And we have to find ways to be able to forgive and move on, to learn from, and, you know, all the rest of it. But to be able to forgive and actually to be able to talk to those people and say, I forgive you. Like, I've seen miracles happen from doing that. You know, it's not always possible. It's not always going to be the case. And also, it's why the world keeps moving. We need conflict for things to happen. You know, if everything was just hunky-dory, then nothing would be happening. It would just be there. So you need both. You need the light and the dark. You need the extremes. You need the conflict for anything to be happening. But in yourself and in your work and in the work you're trying to do in the world, there is a space for this Lust card. It's like, it's moved beyond justice. Like, justice is sort of the lower vibration of it, because it's still playing outer world. It's playing into the hands of the outer world. Whereas this Lust card, she is just in love with life, in love with the world, warts and all, in love with her own existence, warts and all. She smashed the patriarchy. She's riding this lion and has smashed the patriarchy just from like not just ignoring it, just moving beyond it, just being more than it, like going beyond it, going beyond the anger, going beyond the resentment, going beyond the retribution, and just being in love with life and in love with herself, and just absolutely abundant and full and just giving. She's also like, her, you know, her hands held high, and she's pouring out this light into the world. She's not like holding it to herself. It's not like she's better than anyone else. She's just exuding glory and love and wonderfulness and compassion and rah. So how do we do that? How do we like let go of the shit? Because there's so much shit. And like, yes, we can be angry, and there's space for that. But this axis, this Leo and Aquarius axis, is asking us to look at that, to look at how you can let it go. And then you have the Star card, which is the same in both decks. The Star card is the Aquarius energy, which is the axis. So you've got this Leo, like being your biggest, brightest self and just loving life and just being like, ah. And then the Aquarius energy is about supporting the whole world to feel like that, and collectively. And it is the energy of revolution. It's like, but that revolution doesn't have to be violent. That revolution can be exalted. It can just be and we just stopped doing that. We just stopped pouring energy towards him. We just stopped giving that energy, and we just did something else that was much better instead. And there's space for that to happen. How do we shine our pixel bright and then make the picture big and bright and beautiful, and make their bit of it irrelevant? Just make their pixels irrelevant. Not by fighting and killing them, and not by destroying them, but by just outshining them. So that's a way. You know, I don't have all the answers, but we crowned ourselves. I've got my crown. We crowned ourselves as it's the ruler or the king, but it's not like the emperor energy. It's more like you are the inner world. You are the inner world, and everything that's in that inner world is you. And that's the same for the outer world. We're all one. And as the headpiece of this being, like the, you know, you'd have a king, but the king was actually in service to the land. And if they weren't being, which is what we're seeing playing out in the world at the moment, then the land was sick. It was ill. It wasn't a thriving land. If the ruler is doing it well, then the land is well, because it's all one. So how do we, as the rulers of our inner world, do that from a place of lust and love and exuberance, rather than, you know, a place of anger and, you know, feeling like you're not good enough or that sort of thing. So we wrote our own Magna Carta as rulers of our inner world. I'll read you what I wrote. So this is my Magna Carta for my inner world. Colours spin and spiral, birds sing in secret glades, laughter and madness ring around temples of decadence. In this place we are all fabulous. No one plays small or paints their rooms magnolia. Sparkles and glitter, rainbows and cupcakes are abundant but not detrimental. High minds have found ways to create pleasure but reduce cost. Sweetness without sugar, glitter without plastic, madness without insanity. We are curious here, excited by possibility. Limitations are calls for creation and exploration. The fool dances his merry jaunt along the third way, and extraordinary compassion and love exudes from every choice and action. Pleasure is exalted, permission to play big. Divine beauty is the core, the seed, the kernel, the reason for it all. Music, art, laughter and dance, plays that last for days, and festivals of chaos. Passionate, compassionate and extraordinary. So that is my Magna Carta for my inner world. That is also my outer world. That is the world. That is you. That is we. That is us. That is all of the things. So I'm going to do a reading for this very big moment in time. So Uranus is just gone. Which way around is it? So Uranus has just gone stationary and will be moving into Gemini in April, which will be the first time in 84 years. So that's quite a big thing. It's been in Taurus all this time, and Uranus is the planet of disruption and breakthroughs and upheaval. So what have you learned from its time in Taurus? What have you learned about money and creativity and how you manifest your talents in the world in a way that makes money? What have you learned about that? What are your breakthroughs? What are you taking forward from the time that you've had in Taurus? And then it's going to be going into Gemini, so it's going to start disrupting communication and our relationships with people and our relationship with our inner world. And we'll start exploring that and create breakthroughs. It's not just disruption, it's breakthroughs. So what have you learned? And we'll be getting ready to move into this new place in Gemini in April. And also Neptune has entered Aries for the first time in hundreds of years. And the last time it happened, it was like lots of social movements, KKK, things like that. But Neptune is about the unseen, the secret world. And then Aries is this very fiery energy. So there is going to be a lot of, or is already happening, lots of revelations about things that people are keeping secret that are going to make people angry, and that's what's going to kick off revolutions and social movements, which is also what Aquarius is doing with Pluto in Aquarius. That hadn't been around for hundreds of years, and the last time that happened, it was all the revolutions. All the things are happening to spur on change and movement. And there's the Alan Moore theory that we're turning into steam from water. We were ice age, ice people. We moved into water as we moved around the world in boats and became merchants and slave traders and moved humans around and moved things around and with water. And now we're turning into steam, and it's just vibrating into a different reality. And it's a paradigm shift. I mean, it's a huge paradigm shift. And we go into the age of Aquarius, which is air. So it's just this vibration into like a completely different reality. And it's underway. It's happening now. So how do we do that in a lustful, relaxed, going with it, relishing it, embracing the unknown, stepping off that cliff and just going for it way, rather than a like tight holding on, trying to control, not going to be able to kind of way. So here is the overall rune, which is courage, steadfastness. So putting one foot in front of the other, it came up in the call tonight that it's madness, it's chaos. All we can do is make like a horse and just put one foot in front of the other and just keep going. We don't know how we're going to get from water to steam. We don't know. We just got to keep trucking. But it's physically, in the physical world, it's a time of harvest, which it is. We're in a 10-year. This is the year where we're turning the shit into gold. Something is happening this year. We're in a chapter change. We're going to go from 10 into 11, where we vibrate. Think of 11 as the pages turning. It's the vibration of the pages turning as you start another chapter. So that's next year is the 11 year. And then the next year after that, 2028, will be a 3-year, which is, work, doing the work. So that's the beginning of whatever this new story is that we've changed the chapter on. But this year is the end of the chapter that we've been on. And it's the culmination, it's the crux moment, it's the gold in the alchemical process. And that's where we're at the moment. So it's a time of harvest. It's a time for, something's happening now. We can all feel it. It's happening. And then that's going to happen. And then we'll be playing out next year. And then it begins the new chapter in 2027. So in your communication, be really clear about what you want. This is the rune of being direct. It's like the spear, shooting for what you want. So just say what you mean. Say what you care about. Say what you believe in. Especially as we're coming into a Mercury retrograde and Pisces season, things get gloopy. So be really clear with your communication. Talk to people. If you've got worries or concerns, talk about them. It's time for big girl pants for everyone. We just need to speak our truth. Then in the fire, we have Laguz, which is the, we've got Neptune, we've got Pisces, we've got Mercury retrograde. Like there's going to be a lot of water gloopiness coming with the fire. So how do we, for me, it's like being passionate about the inner world. I'm passionate about the inner world, and that's what this is. So the start of the year has been quite a nice clear-headed space for getting things going. I've managed to get things going. I've managed to get stuff happening. It's appreciating that that's happened. And we're now going to be entering into this sort of watery gloopiness, to embrace that and to go with the flow and to use that as a creative time. I was less creative in January than I would like to be. Normally I use January as a creation, hibernation, creative time. But actually, because January had to be getting my ducks in a row for various reasons, actually this next chunk of time, February, March, that works out quite nicely for me to be a time to be creative, to get my book written, to, you know, be more in my creative space. So I'm going to let that happen and play out, but it's to embrace it and to go with that. And then in the inner world, we have Kenaz. So this is a torch, shining a torch into the darkness. Like I say, we're entering a different reality. So be brave, be like Indiana Jones going into the temple with his torch, and like, go look for the treasure. Go exploring, be inquisitive and interested in what is this new reality. Be curious, don't be scared, be curious about what's possible, be curious about how far we can push things, be curious about how weird we can make it, like how nuts could it possibly be, and not just in a like scary way, like Mad Max way, but in a like Lord of the Rings way, like, you know, it doesn't have to be. It's the reality is going to be what we create. If you're only ever watching Mad Max films or dystopian movies, then how are you ever going to imagine a reality that's not like that? You know, fill your brain with things that inspire you and that excite you and tantalize you. And just think, oh, what about if I do find a subtle knife that cuts through reality and takes me somewhere else? What if I do? You know, who knows? Literally, who knows? It's all to play for. So, fill your brain with the things that you love and that inspire you, rather than things that fill you with fear. So, luxury. Well, this feels like the lust card. So, I know we're in a real time of scarcity financially at the moment. It's bullshit. But where to find, like, the luxury in what we have. It's teaching us a lesson that we didn't need all the stuff. You know, it was sort of sickening, wasn't it? I felt sick from it. There were times where I just looked out across the scene in front of me and was just like you're all wanking and no one's watching. Like, what are we doing? Things needed to get real. We needed an edge. You know, I needed an edge. We've got an edge now. This is when the real stuff happens. And so how to find the lust and the luxury and the divine decadence within that, because it does exist and it's real. And there's also disappointment, and the disappointment is also real. We're disappointed in our world leaders. We're disappointed in things not turning out the way we wanted to. We're disappointed in us not being able to, you know, my happiness used to be measured by what Airbnb I had booked next and the places I was going to go off traveling to, and I can't afford to do any of that now. And it is disappointing, and I'm disappointed in these things. But, you know, that's it. It's not the end of the world. Disappointment's not the end of the world. And then we have the Prince of Discs. And the Prince of Discs, he's a manifester. So this has the same kind of energy as the Chariot, but he's actually going somewhere. He's making things happen. He's got the globe. He's got the world in his hand. He's making the outer world the way he wants it to be. And that's what I'm saying that we all need to do, is for us to shine our pixel, make it big and bright. And the more of us that do it, the more the overall picture will change. And we have the power to do it. And the power you have is to find the luxury and the decadence and the divine beauty in your pixel, and to push it out there and shine it bright and support. And that's the Aquarius energy, is to then support everyone else to do that. So you've got the Leo energy of making your pixel bright, and then the Aquarius energy of supporting everyone else to make their pixels bright. And then we get to be in a picture of big bright pixels, and we're like, yeah, love that picture. I love it. Whereas at the moment we're being fed a picture that we're like, I don't like that. I don't know what you've done with that at all. Well, don't just, you know, we all make the picture. So, and the more you support everyone else to do it as well, the better. That is the Aquarius message, is lift everybody up. We all have the power. Literally what I was just saying. We all have the power. We all have our crowns. We have the power to change. Do not let them make you feel small. Do not believe it. Do not have it. Do not let it be. You have your power, and you are making this reality just as much as anyone else is. Yeah, we're all priestesses. So this, the temple is reality. The temple is the universe, and we're all priests and priestesses of it. So be of service, serve it, but also, you know, a priest and priestess is in like direct communication with it. You are your highest version of yourself. You're not like one of the congregation. You're one of the servants of the divine. So be your highest self in service of the divine, but also know that you are the divine. We all are. We're all priests and priestesses of the divine, which we also all are. so be that. But don't be part of the congregation. Don't believe that you're part of the congregation. Some of the priests and priestesses have tricked you into thinking that, so that you don't realise that you are actually divine. But, you know, that's the age-old trick of the religious orders. You may surrender. I've never pulled her before, so let's have a listen to what she's got to say. And surrender always makes me think of the Hanged Man. I pulled this card yesterday for myself when I did my own reading, as in I did the Hangman. I pulled the Hangman. I feel like that's the only way that we can vibrate out of water into steam. You know, if I'm the molecules in a kettle of water and it's turning into boiling water and then into steam, just got to kind of surrender to it. You just got to go with the flow, because it's going to be terrifying otherwise. So Yemaya is mother to all of the Orishas of the Yoruba religion, acting as the patron deity of flowing rivers. Orisha, interesting that it's rivers. Orishas are sacred spirits based in West Africa, with several religions that branch out from the Yoruba foundation adopting their own versions of the deities. Yemaya is strongly protective of her children, but keeps a particularly watchful eye over women and all that pertains to their health and well-being. In an ancient legend, it was said that when Yemaya's waters broke, a great flood covered the earth to create rivers and streams, as well as the first mortals. That's myths been in many different cultures. Yemaya floods your perceptions with the importance of surrender. It is said that when you clutch a handful of water, it will escape your grasp. No matter how hard you squeeze, it will always avoid imprisonment. However, if you lessen your grip, you will experience the full potential and elegance that lies within your power. Yemaya calls on you to take this ideal and employ it within your own reality. Attempting to control every little moment around you will diminish the experiences you are meant to enjoy, making it impossible to comprehend the messages therein. The universe contains so many gifts for us, but in order to acquire them, sometimes we must relinquish control. Trust that the divine has your best intentions in mind and surrender to the current. I mean, that's literally what I was just saying. Yeah. Relinquish control and let yourself vibrate into the realms of steam. So, thank you, my darlings. I wish you well. Good luck with the gloopiness that we're about to enter into. I really struggle with Pisces. I'm so attracted to Pisces women. Like, all of my most important women in my life tend to be Piscean women or Capricorn women. A lot of them. Yeah, I love Piscean women. Really find Pisces season really difficult. But I love a Mercury retrograde, so maybe we're gonna find a nice creative flow this time. Right, we'll see how it goes. They're never the same. No Pisces season is ever the same. So let's see what happens. So thank you, lots of love, and I shall see thee anon.